Your Excellency, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Excellencies, members of the delegation of Uganda, and also members of the delegation of Ethiopia. Your Excellency, I am very much delighted and honored by your invitation to visit this very important country in Africa. And thank you for the invitation. And also, I would like to thank you very much for the warm hospitality and the usual Ugandan generosity accorded to me and my delegation since our arrival here in Uganda, in Tebe. Your Excellency, as you mentioned, as our elder brother, we count on your leadership in our region for steering to bring about peace, stability, and prosperity in our region. And thank you for this leadership, and we follow your steps to lead this very necessary area where we have a number of issues should be addressed jointly together with Uganda and the Eastern African corridor. Your Excellency, we live in a very volatile part of the African continent, the Horn of Africa, where Uganda's and Ethiopia's deep cooperation is highly necessary. I commend Your Excellency in your endeavor to support Ethiopia in the fight against Al-Shabaab. We know that the Ugandan sons and daughters are sacrificing in Somalia for the sake of peace and stability in our region. And upon your leadership and the sacrifice your army is paying in Somalia, now we see hope and again the chance for the Somalis to govern themselves. And we have seen lots of progress since then, where I said in our meeting that this is the only, maybe the only peacekeeping mission who has made progress globally. So we commend our daughters and sons for the sacrifice that are made there in Somalia. Your Excellency, we discussed, as you said, about South Sudan. It is a very closer neighborhood for both Ethiopia and Uganda. And in IGAD, we steered this process against all the odds, and we have shown our solidarity in bringing about a lasting peace in South Sudan. A landmark agreement has been signed upon all of us supported the South Sudanese leadership. And again, we should work very closely together to bring about an implementation of the already signed peace agreement. And hopefully, with the current visit of the President of South Sudan to Ethiopia, we have discussed in details how to make the national dialogue to be more inclusive, as it was stated in our committee, so that both Uganda and Ethiopia as a pillar countries can support this process. Your Excellency, again, the Nile issue, as you mentioned, is very important. I commend you as a person writing a very good article, which I read myself, on the Nile Basin issue. And you have clearly put in that article that we need to have an equitable utilization of our natural resource. Tanks for both of us are the source of the Nile. I have visited Jinja, where the White Nile the source of the White Nile is located. And similarly, we do have also the source of Blue Nile in our lake, Tana. And I think as both sources of the Nile, we always claim that we have all the rights to utilize equitably our natural resource. In this regard, I think we commend our ministers of water and electricity for working very hard the last maybe 12, 13 years negotiating this agreement. And since we have to conclude it, we agreed that we will have a summit during the term of Uganda's chairmanship, Your Excellency, up to June. And I hope we have to conclude this issue before the Uganda's chairmanship concludes, because this is an agreement of Entebbe, and it should also be concluded in Entebbe. So, Your Excellency, thank you for the offer to preside this summit, and Ethiopia fully agrees with your initiative, and I hope we will conclude the Nile Basin agreement during our summit. Your Excellency, you have brought about a very good creative ideas how to connect Ethiopia and Uganda. So I was always thinking the very short distance between Uganda and Ethiopia, where we have Kenya in between. We should have an infrastructure which connects it, and I think this is your initiative, and I will try my best to send a team of engineers from our side to study this route. Therefore, we can connect together by road from the Karamajong cluster. Your Excellency, I think we, as two nations pillar for the Eastern African corridor, as said in our communique, we have to push to connect ourselves in infrastructure, not only in roads, but also electric line interconnections. Whenever we have surpluses, we can share with each other. This is how the integration of our nations takes place. Again, we are very much delighted to be here in a country, as I mentioned, a number of languages and tribes merge to coexist together as Africans. And this, coupled with your Pan-African ideology, I think we can make a better future for our continent. Your Excellency, thank you very much for this leadership, and I am very much honored to be here today with the Ugandan people. Thank you very much.